In my past life, the class beauty with a fragile ego locked the bus doors and refused to let anyone off just because I fell asleep on the exam transport bus. She insisted that my sleeping was a sign of disrespect and forced me to kneel and apologize in front of everyone with only 10 minutes left before the college entrance exam started. I, as class president, immediately contacted our homeroom teacher and broke open the doors to save the whole class. In the end, everyone made it to the exam on time and performed brilliantly. On the very day the college entrance exam results were released, my childhood friend shoved me out the window of a speeding car, killing me instantly. The entire class watched with cold indifference, their words cutting straight to the heart. It's all your fault for being a tattletale and a show-off. You drove Ching to perform poorly, fall into depression, and jump to her death. You deserve to die. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at the moment I boarded the bus to the exam. This time around, I've completely given up on trying. Early in the morning, I deliberately invited Ms. Wang Yu, the head of the college entrance exam team, to ride the same exam shuttle bus with me. I sat comfortably in the back row, just wanting to quietly watch the show unfold. With only 100 m left to the exam hall, sudden cries erupted from the front of the bus, and the doors were instantly locked. Class beauty Xiao Jingjing had a few tears clinging to her face, relying on the whole class shielding her. She spoke as if she'd suffered some great injustice. Mangling, you're deliberately picking on me. You knew I was working as an exam escort today, and you still chose to sit in the very back. You just looked down on me. My childhood sweetheart, Shinsu stepped in, gently holding her waist. His voice sharp and unyielding, apologized to Jingjing's pride. The moment she finished speaking, the entire class erupted in murmurs. Monitor, just apologize already. Jingjing has a soft heart. Don't hold it against her. Xiao Jingjing covered her face and cried, blaming me for every word, refusing to apologize. Then nobody in class gets to take the exam. How dare you bully people just because you're the monitor? I felt utterly unperturbed, crossing my legs as I remarked coolly, fine, don't take the exam. Then if your heart is that fragile and can't handle the slightest bump, don't go around emotionally blackmailing everyone with your feelings. In my past life, I was far too responsible. For the sake of the entire class, I swallowed my pride to mediate conflicts, summoned the homeroom teacher under pressure to unlock the door, and fought tooth and nail to protect everyone's future. Yet, what I got in return was a wrongful death, and my loving parents' hair turned white overnight. In this lifetime, all that remains in my heart is cold indifference and stark clarity. The next second, Xiao Jingjing grew agitated instead. She shot. Shinua looked, and he immediately yanked me out of my seat, his tone laced with menace. The school specifically reserved the only parent escort spot on the exam bus for the class monitor. It was supposed to be your mother accompanying us. Any problems on that bus were your responsibility to handle. So what's with this holier-than-thou act now? Stop doling. If you don't kneel down and apologize, none of us in this class are leaving. He gripped my wrist so tightly it was almost painful, and the moment his skin brushed mine, the terror of being shoved out of a car window in my past life crashed over me all at once. When I was thrown out of the car window in my last life, I begged him with everything I had, but he just stared at me with cold eyes, watching helplessly as I smashed into the ground, my body torn and bloody. If it weren't for you being such a tattletale attention seeker, my Jingjing would still be alive. We had promised to be together after graduation. Memories flooded back ever since Yao Jingjing transferred into our class. Whenever Shin-Su and I exchanged glances, she'd cry and bang her knees against the wall, wailing that Shin-Su had shattered her fragile heart. As time went on, Shin-Su didn't speak a single word to me for the entire final year of high school. My former close friend had become a complete stranger. Years of friendship had come to nothing. In this life, I just want to be good to myself. Early this morning, I made a point of inviting Mr. Wang Yu, the head of the college entrance examination team, to ride along with me. I squinted with a light laugh, my tone firm, projecting an air of complete detachment. I took the noisiest hotel room for myself during the gao, so I'm sitting in the back row now. Can't I just have a moment of peace? I did nothing wrong. And I absolutely will not apologize. Turning around, I addressed group leader Wang Yu, who was sitting in the front row with a sincere tone. Sir, there's a bit of a commotion back here. I'm afraid the whole class won't be able to get off the bus on time. Group leader Wang Yu dismissed it as just some horseplay among students. Rubbing his eyes, he replied in a gentle tone, All right, everyone, let's not bicker now. The exam is about to start. Hurry up and get off the bus to go inside. The next second, Xiao Jingjing suddenly pointed at Wang Yu, her petulant wail threatening to blow the roof off the bus. Menning's mom, how dare you sleep, sitting in the front row, and sleeping so openly? Are you deliberately looking down on me? No one leaves. No one leaves until I get an apology. Relying on the class's indulgence of her fragile feelings, she grew increasingly pushy in tone. Team leader Wang Yu cleared her throat, her tone now laced with warning. Excuse me, I think you've mistaken me for someone else. I'm not Mangel's mother. But please keep your actions in check. Intentionally blocking a college entrance exam candidate from entering is a serious matter. Xia Jingjing immediately stopped crying, yet her body remained firmly wedged in the car's doorway, going along with what everyone assumed. She spoke with unwavering confidence, each word delivered with righteous conviction. You're taking up the special exam escort spot reserved for the class monitor, and you're denying it. Are you making fun of me for being stupid? Why are you being so hostile? Trying to scare me and ruin my exam mood on purpose if you don't kneel down and apologize. Today, nobody gets off this bus. I'll make such a scene that it'll be impossible to clean up. Woo! At that moment, 2 special police officers assigned to college entrance exam security were already stationed at the bus door. Quietly on standby, Xiao Jingjing completely ignored the strange stars from everyone, still putting on a pitiful act as if deeply hurt, never even bothering to look into team leader Wang Yu's true identity. Auntie, are you really going to stand by and watch your daughter ruin her future? Whether I take the college entrance exam or not doesn't matter to me. I've never cared about fame or fortune. What I value most is simply the basic respect between people. I watched her clumsy performance with a cold gaze, then calmly shot back. You're the one who's being unreasonable and blocking everyone's way. Yet you're putting on this act of being the victim. That's just too hypocritical. As soon as I finished speaking, a collective gasp swept through the class. No one had expected me to call her out so publicly. What followed was a wave of accusations and favoritism from all around the bus, their words laced with sharp grating tones. Come on, class president, that's enough. Jingjing is sensitive and introverted. Can't you just cut her some slack? It's just a simple apology. Why put on such a cold, aloof front and nitpick with her over every little thing? How selfish can you be? You're hogging the exclusive parent slot and throwing a tantrum. Is your pride really worth jeopardizing the entire class's college entrance exams? Those words stabbed at my heart, leaving me breathless and heavy-headed. For 3 years in high school, I put the class first in everything, giving it my all, only for it all to come to nothing. In the end, team leader Wang Yu pulled out his phone and was about to dial the college entrance exam emergency hotline when Shan Su suddenly snatched it away. As expected, a show-off gives birth to another show-off, always running to tattle whenever there's trouble. Today, I won't let any of you pick on Jingjing. Seeing Sen Su and the whole class backing her up, Xia Jingjing proudly stuck out her tongue at me with hands on her hips. She bent her head and quickly typed a text message. I tried to step forward to get my phone back, but my hands were suddenly choked by Shin Su's backpack strap. Stay put and behave, or I'll tie you to the car right here and let your mom watch helplessly as you miss your college entrance exam. Do you think she'll feel any better about that? Out of the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of the text message, and a wave of bitterness surged through me instantly. Head of the Gao team, I'm reporting this. Menning and her mother are hogging the special transport slots for exam candidates, trapping us inside the bus and deliberately blocking us from taking the GAO. Shan Su ignored team leader Wang Yu's furious expression and tied me up tightly. When I reached for the emergency hammer to break the window, he slapped my hand away forcefully. Shin Su, are you really determined to disrupt the college entrance exams for everyone? This is a serious matter." He looked completely indifferent, growing even more arrogant with the whole class backing him up. "Do you have proof? Who actually saw it? As long as the whole class testifies, and your fingerprints are on the bus door lock, it's clear you did this on purpose to cause trouble and block entry." The next second, 2 SWAT officers directly opened the bus door, scanned the interior with their eyes, and finally respectfully fixed on team leader Wang Yu. The arrogance on Xiao Jingjing and Shin Su's faces instantly froze, their confidence visibly dropping by more than half. "3 police officers. Don't be so serious. We were just having some fun among classmates." Shan Su hastily tried to smooth things over, his eyes darting nervously, unable to meet the gaze of the SWAT officer beside them. Xiao Jingjing's eyes instantly welled up with tears again, putting on an expression of someone who had suffered the gravest injustice. "Mangjing, even if you're stressed before the exam, you can't just lock us all in the car. Have you lost control of your emotions? Now that the police are here, they'll only blame me, the exam escort assistant. I really don't know what to do." She wept in a delicate, affected manner, tears dropping one by one onto her pink pleated skirt. Her entire outfit gave no indication she was a student here to take the National College entrance exams. "What on earth is going on? We're already at the exam site. So why are you locking the doors and refusing to let us out?" Faced with the SWAT team's questioning, the entire class fell silent. Not a single person was willing to step forward and speak up for me. The scene was chillingly reminiscent of the cold, indifferent onlookers after my brutal death in my previous life. No one knew the reason behind it. The school only had one spot for a parent to accompany the students on the bus to the exam, and by tradition, it was always given to the class monitor's family. Shin Su and I had known each other since we were kids, yet he had never once seen my mother's true face. Last night, I went to Teacher Wang Ye's room specifically to ask her to accompany and escort our class smoothly through the Gao today. This scene happened to be witnessed by Shin Su. Jumping to conclusions, he assumed it was my mother coming to claim the exclusive parent escort spot. Having never met my mother, he became convinced that Teacher Wang Yu was my mom. It was precisely this absurd misunderstanding that gave Xiao Jingjing ammunition. She latched on to this mistaken identity and used it to stir up trouble and sow discord without restraint. In my past life, when my parents came to confront me in tears, not a single classmate spoke up in my defense. Instead, they responded with sarcastic remarks and veiled mockery. "It's all the monitor's fault for throwing a tantrum." Jingjing suffered so much during the college entrance exam, became depressed, and eventually couldn't take it anymore. She ended up like that, and honestly, she deserved it. In this life, I've already figured out the root of why everyone in the class secretly resents me. I'm no longer willing to silently endure it. I'm going to take the initiative to uncover the truth behind it all. I leaned in toward the class representative, who was hunched over her books nearby, and spoke with unusual sincerity. "Do you know why everyone in the class secretly hates me?" The class representative pushed up his glasses and whispered softly, "I heard. The only guaranteed admission spot in the whole school has been given to you. Everyone's saying you got it by tattling on others and sucking up to teachers." After saying that, the class rep quickly turned his head, afraid someone would notice he was talking to me privately. It hit me all at once. Manipulation and baseless jealousy intertwined, leaving me feeling utterly ridiculous and deeply chilled. Only after I died in my past life did I find out I'd been granted a direct admission. The spot for direct admission was then conveniently handed over to someone else after I passed away. No wonder during those final days before the exam, Shan Su targeted me at every turn, unilaterally switching the class meeting I'd carefully prepared into a PE activity, and deliberately leading the whole class to isolate me. He would always say to me in a cold, resentful voice, "What does Jingjing lack compared to you? Why do all the advantages go to you?" It turned out that from the very beginning, Xia Jingjing had found out in advance that I had secured the guaranteed admission spot. She secretly laid a trap, inciting the whole class to isolate and resent me. She went to great lengths, using every means to obstruct me from taking the college entrance exam normally. If I missed the exam or something happened to me, my guaranteed admission spot would be directly voided, and fall into someone else's hands from beginning to end. It was all part of her carefully laid plan for with only 10 minutes left before the college entrance exam started. The whole class finally started, panicking and whispering among themselves, "Jing Jing, stop fooling around. The exam is about to begin. We need to get off the bus and head in now. If we keep dragging this out, we're really going to be late. We can't afford to waste any more time." Team leader Wang Yu chimed in at just the right moment to urge everyone on. Everyone should focus on the college entrance exam. Let's not waste any more time on this pointless standoff. Following team leader Wang Yu's cue, the SWAT officers got off the bus and stationed themselves around it to maintain order, preventing the farce from further unsettling the other examinees. Xia Jingjing, showing no sign of restraint, pointed her finger at my face and wailed defiantly, "Mangaling if you bark like a dog to admit your mistake. I'll let the whole class get off the bus for the exam." A cold glint flashed in my eyes as I retorted sharply, "Xiao Jingjing, don't push your luck." The next second, team leader Wang Yu, having reached his limit directly, produced his work ID bearing the National College Entrance Examination Committee logo. All traces of gentleness vanished from his face, replaced by a stern expression. "Miss Xie Jingjing, in my capacity as the head of the National College Entrance Examination Committee, I order you to cease obstructing the examinees' entry immediately. If you persist in causing a disturbance, you will bear the full consequences." Shan Su caught a clear glimpse of the official seal and title on the ID badge, a flicker of panic flashing in his eyes. He quickly tugged at Xiao Jingjing's arm and whispered urgently, "Jingjing, Mangaling's mother. She's not someone to be trifled with." Xiao Jingjing shot a glance at the badge. Her heart was in turmoil, yet she stubbornly maintained a facade of bravado, refusing to back down. She instantly switched to a pitiful, tearful tone, twisting the facts. "What kind of status gives her the right to humiliate a student like this? She's clearly just bullying me because she's an elder. Shinsu, didn't you see how she teamed up with Mangaling to deliberately target me? How could you just stand by and let me get bullied?" As soon as she finished speaking, Shinsu shot me a cold, hostile glare, his tone suddenly harsh and domineering. "Mangjing, make that elder of yours apologize for you right now, or no one's getting off this bus to take the college entrance exam today." Shinsu gripped team leader Wang Yu's wrist with a deathly hold, even leaving a bloody mark from the pressure. At that very moment, the emergency personnel for the college entrance exam boarded the bus directly and steadily opened the coach door. Without a word, the staff stepped forward and firmly restrained the unruly troublemakers, Shinsu and Xiao Jingjing. Seeing this, all the students on the bus fell silent, lowered their heads, and looked visibly uneasy, not daring to speak. Team leader Wang Yu, the individual who deliberately obstructed the examinees' entry, has been securely restrained. We're now escorting all examinees off the vehicle in an orderly manner to head to the examination hall. Shansu's face turned pale with fear. 5. The entire vehicle fell into an instant silence. The official work badge on team leader Wang Yu's chest with its glaring red background and golden seal struck everyone's hearts with a heavy, undeniable force. The look of aggrieved tears froze on Xia Jingjing's face. All color drained from it in an instant, and her entire body began to tremble uncontrollably. Her proud repertoire of coquettish tears and twisted truths seemed utterly childish and laughable in the presence of the actual highest authority over the National College entrance exam. "The other examinees may leave now. Xia Jingjing, Shinsu, the two of you will stay behind." Shansu's legs went weak, and his back was instantly drenched in cold sweat. All traces of his earlier arrogance had vanished, leaving only a bone-chilling panic. He stared intently at the work badge, finally realizing he had caused a massive disaster. The 3 words, "Stay behind," struck straight to his heart, clearly signaling the worst possible outcome. Decades of diligent study had all come to nothing in the end. You're not Yuling's mother. You're the head of the college entrance examination committee, the one with the final say over every student's fate. I'm sorry. I was mistaken. Could you give me one more chance?" His lips trembled as he pleaded, but he was met with not a shred of sympathy. What he did just now, snatching phones, tying people up, openly defying authority, and allowing Xiao Jingjing to obstruct the college entrance exam for everyone. Each act is a serious offense that crosses the red line of the Gao. The accompanying officers with stern expressions immediately stepped forward to register the information of both individuals. Xiao Jingjing Shinsu, you have intentionally gathered a crowd to obstruct examinees from entering on time, disrupting the order of this national-level examination. Your actions will be officially recorded. As soon as the words were spoken, a middle-aged couple rushed out from beside the car. Shinsu's parents, who had hurried over upon hearing the news, their faces deathly pale, the two stumbled onto the bus and fell to their knees with a thud right in front of group leader Wang Yu. Sir, please, we beg you to show mercy. Our child was young and foolish. He made a terrible mistake in a moment of poor judgment. 10 years of grueling study is no easy feat. You can't let this ruin his college entrance exam. We apologize to you, and we apologize to the entire class. Shun's mother was wailing as if her heart were being torn out, gripping Shinsu's arm with a deathly force, trying to force him to kneel. Shu stood frozen in place, his eyes vacant as his mother pulled at him, his gaze filled with nothing but remorse and despair. But rules show no mercy. Wang Ye's expression remained stern and unyielding. The National College entrance examination is a fair and solemn ceremony for selecting the nation's talent. No one has the right to willfully disrupt it by condoning the disturbance, obstructing the entry of all examinees, and delaying the entire class's first Chinese language exam. You must bear the consequences yourselves. A notice of violation was issued and immediately recorded in the academic record system. The entire class hung their heads in silence, not a single person daring to speak up for Xiao Jingjing and Shinsu. I entered the examination hall with the rest of the class, refraining from pleading for them and preparing to take the test. The favoritism, indulgence, and criticism from the past had all now turned into a piercing sense of humiliation. I sat quietly in the examination hall, my heart calm and unperturbed, filled only with resolve. In my past life, I saved everyone only to meet a tragic end. My parents pleaded with the police, just like this, kneeling down in front of the entire class, all for the sake of the truth. In this life, they have single-handedly ruined their own futures. This is nothing but karma. That afternoon, the first exam was over. As I walked out of the exam hall, the sunlight fell on me, and a long-lost sense of relief washed over my entire body. At the school gate, Shinsu stood alone in a corner. The once upright young man's posture had completely collapsed like a frostbitten eggplant. His parents, eyes red, kept scolding and berating him, every word dripping with bitter disappointment. It's all your own damn fault. Seeing me come out, Shinsu immediately broke free from his parents' grip and rushed toward me. There was a desperate plea in his eyes, his voice, and desperate, yelling. I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Please, can you help me talk to the supervisor for me? Get my violation record expuned. I can't let this ruin my college entrance exam. I lifted my gaze to look at him coldly, at this childhood friend who, in our past life, had personally pushed me out of the car window and watched me die a gruesome death. In that past life, battered and bruised, I had knelt and begged him, yet he stood by with cold indifference, his every word merciless. Now in this life, he's the one in trouble, begging me. What gives him the right to expect my sympathy? My tone was flat and utterly devoid of warmth. I can't help you. You chose your own path. You protected your own people. And you made your own mistakes. The cycle of cause and effect is yours to bear. And one more thing. Don't call me that anymore. We're strangers now. Isn't that what you said? With that, I turned on my heel and walked away. Shinsu froze in place behind me, the pleading in his eyes instantly turning into seething resentment. Let his parents keep scolding him. Xiao Qingqing, not far off, took in the whole scene, a sinister smirk curling at the corner of her lips. She hurried over to Shinsu's side, pretending to soothe him gently, each word dripping with provocation. You see, Mangling just holds a grudge against us. She deliberately chose to stand by and do nothing when we were in trouble. It was clearly her who started going after me, causing all this mess. How dare she pretend she had nothing to do with it? She just can't stand to see you doing well. Not being able to take the college entrance exam is no big deal. I know a few wealthy bosses. We can make our fortune by working with them in the future. What's the point of grinding for academic credentials? Only Mangling would treat a chicken feather as a warrant. Those words completely shattered the guilt in Shin Su's heart, leaving behind only a deep-seated hatred for me. Shin Su roared in a hoarse voice. Why? Why would you do this to me? 6 that evening, after the self-study break, the whole class stayed in the dormitory at the exam site to review the test. After a day of tension, students couldn't help whispering about the bus incident earlier that day. Shin Su sat in the corner, gripping his pen tightly, his eyes fixed on me with a sinister glare. Xiao Jingjing nestled beside him, fanning the flames and shifting all the blame onto me. Look, she's ruined you. And now she's playing the innocent victim. How cold-hearted. It's all because you're too sentimental. This is what you get. I stood up and walked in front of them, my gaze icy, and my voice sharp enough to be heard by everyone in the class. Shin Su, are you still refusing to see the truth? The one who truly ruined you, who got that black mark on your Gao record, was never me. It was Xiao Jingjing, the girl you've been protecting for 3 whole years. The entire class fell silent in an instant, all eyes turning toward us. Xiao Jingjing's face changed, her eyes welling up with tears immediately. Mangjing, how can you still slander me? You're speaking so loudly. It's bothering me. I'm going to lose sleep tonight. I ignored her act and stared straight at Shin Su. My words sharp and firm. You keep saying I've gotten all the benefits. Jealous that I have the recommendation spot, class president privileges, and the exam escort allowance. But you've been deceived by her from the very beginning. It was she who secretly spread rumors, saying I secured my spot by currying favor with teachers, and tattling, inciting the whole class to isolate and resent me. It was she who repeatedly held everyone hostage with her fragility, exploiting your favoritism to ruthlessly destroy other people's futures. I turned to face the entire class, my tone open and forthright. If I hadn't invited Mr. Wang Yu, the head of the college entrance exam group, to accompany us in advance, if I hadn't planned ahead, given Xiao Jingjing's obsession, the whole busload of students will be locked inside, and everyone will miss the college entrance exam. All your years of hard study could be ruined by her momentary melodrama and selfishness. The entire class was stunned, their faces filled with guilt and sudden realization. Looking back on the past 3 years, all the random isolation, sarcastic remarks, and unexplained targeting suddenly made sense. The way everyone looked at Xiao Jingjing was no longer filled with their usual pity and favoritism. Only contempt and distance remained. Xiao Jingjing panicked, shaking her head frantically and wailing, "No, she's lying. She's just petty and holding grudges, jealous because I'm so popular." She suddenly raised her voice, pulling out her final trump card. The recommendation quota was always meant to be controversial. Why should she, Mangling, have it all to herself? You took advantage, and then acted innocent. Now you're blaming me. I casually raised my hand, pulled out a signed paper document from my backpack, and spread it open in front of everyone. The handwriting was clear, the signature neat, and the date was 1 week before the college entrance exam. This is the application letter I personally wrote and submitted to the school, formally relinquishing my recommendation quota. I voluntarily gave up my recommendation qualification long before the college entrance exam. I've never taken anyone else's spot, and I've certainly never taken shortcuts by snitching or sucking up to teachers. It's all a web of lies she carefully spun. She's been using all of you. The moment those words were spoken, the entire class erupted in an uproar. Xiao Jingjing stared fixedly at the letter of withdrawal, her pupils contracting sharply as she completely broke down and lost control. Her meticulously crafted scheme, an entire year in the making, had come to nothing. She went out of her way to isolate me, trying to force me into making a mistake that would cost me my guaranteed college admission through the special entrance program. In the end, I had already given up on everything long ago. No way. That's impossible. You're kidding, right? You wouldn't give up something as big as a guaranteed admission. If you're serious, Go confront the homeroom teacher. She screamed like a mad woman, her arms flailing wildly, her face a mess of tears and snot. Any trace of the class beauty's poise was utterly gone. Her undignified shrieks echoed through the entire dorm room. Yet not a single soul felt sorry for her or offered any comfort. Because no matter what excuse she pulled out, everyone knew she was lying. The homeroom teacher was assigned to another exam prep group by the school, making it impossible for him to come and confront her. Everyone watched her hysterical outburst coldly, then turned away, completely disgusted. Late at night, after everyone had gone to sleep, outside the dormitory door came a relentless barrage of banging and crying. Xia Jingjing stood guard outside my door, relentlessly pounding on the wooden panel and creating a grating racket. Come out. Explain yourself. I want to change rooms. Monitor. Unwilling to accept defeat, she was trying to force me out to argue with her and drain my energy, knowing full well I had an exam the next day. I paid her no mind whatsoever. I slipped on noise-cancelling earplugs, lay down, closed my eyes, and conserved my energy in quiet repose. Let her go wild out there. Nothing was shaking my calm. After all, the college entrance exam is what really matters. 7. The next morning, the college entrance exam shuttle departed right on schedule. With yesterday's incident as a lesson, the whole class finally saw Xiao Jingjing for who she really was. After getting on board and taking their seats, everyone deliberately kept their distance from her. No one was willing to say another word to her. I pulled out my phone, opened the live stream interface, and propped it up in front of my seat, broadcasting the scene inside the bus live to the public. My voice was calm as I spoke softly into the camera. During today's college entrance exam, we'll live stream everything inside the vehicle to prevent any disturbances, kidnappings, or disruptions to the exam. With full documentation throughout, the whole class quickly rallied. Behind me, the monitor is right. We can't let her run wild anymore. A live stream is the best way to go. It'll be crystal clear who's causing trouble. Xiao Jingjing sat alone in the corner, her face deathly pale, and her body rigid. The days of being the center of attention were gone, replaced by endless isolation and humiliation. Refusing to accept it, she turned and clutched desperately at Shinsu beside her, pleading in a tearful voice. Shinsu, please help me. Can you talk to everyone for me? Just plead on my behalf. You're missing one subject anyway, so it's over for you. Now we're the real couple. But Shinsu just coldly shook off her hand, his gaze icy, showing not a trace of the tenderness and favor he once had for her. After what happened yesterday, he was already mostly lucid. He knew with absolute clarity that the stain on his future was entirely the doing of the woman before him. He would never again stand up for her, never again make an enemy on her behalf, utterly abandoned by the one who had favored her most. Xiao Jingjing trembled from head to toe, her eyes brimming with the most profound malice and madness. A surge of intense hatred clouded her mind, and she cast aside all pretense of fragility. She glanced at me covertly, a cold, vengeful look flashing in her eyes. She leaned in and whispered a few words into Shinsu's ear. The bus arrived at the outskirts of the exam site, and everyone got ready to disembark. The moment I stood up, Shinsu behind me suddenly shifted sideways and quickly pressed the automatic lock button on the bus door. A sharp metallic click echoed. The car door was now irrevocably locked. The pent-up resentment and bitterness in his eyes erupted completely, fueled by a maniacal desire for revenge. Menning, you think you're so morally superior, don't you? You wouldn't lift a finger to save a dying man, would you? Then don't even think about taking today's exam. You'll get a taste of what it's like to be locked in a car and miss the college entrance exam. The whole class instantly erupted into chaos. Shinsu, are you out of your mind? Open the door right now. I stood there unmoved, completely calm, my eyes filled only with cold indifference. I'd expected it all along, that someone with such a skewed mindset would eventually take desperate measures to get back at me. I walked slowly to the front attendance console and picked up the copy of the list of college entrance exam candidates. Kept on board, I flipped to Sa Jingjing's page, pointed at the blank qualification stamp, then turned to face Shinsu, whose face was twisted in fury. My voice rang clear and sharp, each word cutting straight to the heart. You went to great lengths to get revenge on me for her. Ruined yourself for her. But do you know something? Xia Jingjing's eligibility for the college entrance exam has long been revoked. From the very beginning, she never had the right to sit in the exam hall. She never worried about exams because she couldn't even take one. She's been lying to you this whole time. Shan Su jolted as if struck, his pupils dilating in shock, his face a mask of utter disbelief. That's a lie. Impossible. Xing took the college entrance exam with us. I held the roster right before his eyes, making sure he saw it clearly. She was caught cheating severely in the mock exam, and repeatedly violated rules, disrupting the order of major school-level exams. 1 week before the exam, the Education Bureau had officially revoked her eligibility for this year's college entrance exam, with the list publicly posted and archived. It's just that the homeroom teacher, out of consideration for her, chose not to expose this embarrassing incident. Shinsu stared fixedly at the line of red text marking it as void, his mind completely blank. For 3 years, he showed her favoritism. For 2 years, he shielded her. Time and again, he stood against the entire class for her, targeted me, and ruined his own future. In the end, the person he desperately protected and shielded at all costs wasn't even eligible to take the college entrance exam. All his obsession, his impulsiveness, his acts of vengeance, they've all become one colossal joke. Xia Jingjing, I need an explanation from you. 8. Shansu froze in place, blood rushing backward through his veins. Completely stunned, his hand, which had been reaching to lock the car door, dropped limply, the madness in his eyes instantly replaced by endless absurdity and despair. The entire class erupted in shock waves of stunned murmurs echoing through the car. Disqualified from the Gao. No wonder she went ballistic yesterday. She couldn't pass the exam herself, so she wants to drag all of us down with her. How vicious! What a twisted mind! Amidst the crowd's angry outbursts, Xiaoa Jingjing could no longer maintain her fragile, wronged act. The tears on her face dried completely, twisting into a cold, deranged smile. Her eyes were filled with the ruthless abandon of someone with nothing left to lose. That's right. I am ineligible for the college entrance exam. I was caught cheating. My qualification was revoked. I can never take the Gao in my lifetime. She stood up, sweeping her gaze over the bus full of horrified, disgusted faces, and let out a shrill, obsessive laugh. Why do you all get to take the college entrance exam in peace and have a bright future? If I don't have a chance, then none of you will either. Everyone's going down with me. At that very moment, the bus, which had been idling smoothly by the roadside of the exam site, suddenly lurched forward with a violent acceleration. The vehicle jolted violently and instantly careened out of the parking zone, racing off at full speed toward the highway on the outskirts, heading away from the exam center. The car picked up speed with roaring wind noise blasting into the cabin. The entire class turned deathly pale, screaming in panic. Driver, we're going the wrong way. Stop the car right now. We're about to get on the highway, and we still have an exam to take. There were only 10 minutes left until the final exam began. A wave of despair washed over everyone. What's going on? The driver isn't listening at all. Racing at high speed, the journey ahead was long and remote. Even if we stopped and turned back right now, we'd definitely miss the exam entry time. The college entrance exam for everyone in the car was completely ruined. Xia Jingjing watched everyone's panic and breakdown, laughing more wildly than ever. It's too late. It's all too late. No one in this car is getting to the exam hall alive. And in one piece today, my dad is driving, and he's made all the necessary preparations. Today we either all die in a crash, or we all miss the exam. You're all going to get a taste of what it feels like to have your future destroyed. She laughed maniacally. It turned out the bus driver was her biological father, the silent accomplice behind the scenes, who had done nothing throughout, allowed her to cause trouble, and secretly played along with all her schemes. Suddenly, it all clicked for me. There was no time to think. The car kept swaying out of control, speeding up as the scenery outside blurred into a streak. The shadow of death loomed over everyone in the vehicle. Everyone was consumed by sheer panic and despair. The next second, The out-of-control bus hurtling forward came to a screeching halt with a deafening crash. Tires shrieked against the asphalt, and the vehicle lurched to a complete stop just before the highway on-ramp. It was completely immobilized. The immense impact had knocked the driver completely unconscious. 9. The sudden stillness cut off the screens from the entire car. Silence instantly fell over the carriage. What's going on? Why did we stop? Everyone was still shaken, gasping for breath as they stared blankly out of the bus windows. I slowly stood up, my expression calm, and not the least bit surprised. There's no need to panic. Everything is going according to my plan. I anticipated everything that happened today. I set the bus clock back earlier. You all thought there were only 10 minutes until the exam. But in reality, we still have 40. Enough time for us to turn back to the exam hall and make it on time. Last night, I saw Xiao Jingzhen and the driver tampering with the bus. So, I called the police in advance. Everyone suddenly looked up at the clock inside the car and checked their watches instantly, realizing the truth. It was a contingency. I'd anticipated all the risks and set up well in advance. There's more to it than that. From the moment I got back in the car after rebirth, I started analyzing every possible ending from my past life. I've always had a question. In my previous life, when Shin Su threw me out of the car, I caught a glimpse of the driver, a middle-aged man. So, who the hell is he? And why would he just let Shin Su kill me without a fight until this life I've been waiting for? This person to show up. Turns out in my previous life, the driver was Xiao Jingjing's father. And on the day of the college entrance exam in my past life, our homeroom teacher was actually the one secretly kidnapped and held captive by that father-daughter duo. It was because of me in my past life that I called my homeroom teacher just in time, accidentally saving her from being kidnapped just because of that incident. Xia Jingjing held a grudge against me, convinced that I had ruined her entire plan. So, after the college entrance exam results came out, she faked depression and jumped off a building, inciting the whole class and encouraging Shin Su to pin all the blame on me, causing me to be tragically killed by a car. Actually, the person she wanted to get revenge on wasn't me. It was all of us in the class. The moment I finished speaking, a synchronized wail of sirens broke out outside the car. Several police cars quickly boxed in the bus, and heavily armed officers rushed forward surrounding the entire vehicle. We received an advanced alert to intercept a vehicle involved in deliberately causing traffic accidents, abducting examinees, and disrupting the college entrance exam order. Officers swiftly boarded the bus and restrained the driver, who was completely stunned, Xia Jingjing's father. Meanwhile, another team of police officers sent word. We have successfully rescued the high school senior homeroom teacher who was being held captive. She is safe and unharmed. The full truth was now laid bare for all to see. All of Xia Jingjing's fragility, her grievances, and her tearful outbursts were nothing but an elaborately staged deception. It all started with her jealousy over my guaranteed university admission spot, escalating to inciting others to isolate me, sabotaging my college entrance exam, and even plotting a car accident and kidnapping. She set up layer upon layer of deadly traps, aiming to drag down everyone in the class and ruin all of their lives. Sa father is suspected of endangering public safety, unlawful detention, and intentionally causing a major safety incident. Xiao Jingjing is suspected of picking quarrels and provoking trouble, disrupting the order of a national-level examination, and inciting others to commit crimes. The father and daughter were taken away on the spot by police officers, their handcuffs glinting sharply in the sunlight. Watching the scene unfold, Shin Su felt completely drained, collapsing into a seat with endless regret in his eyes. He finally saw clearly the truly vicious and twisted person he had been protecting all along. Then, with police cars leading the way, our bus was escorted back to the exam site. 30 minutes before the exam began, all the examinees arrived at the testing center on time. Sunlight broke through the clouds, gently settling on each person. 10. The college entrance exam has ended, and everything is finally settled. All malicious scheming eventually backfires. Xia Jingjing and her daughter are under investigation for multiple illegal acts, leaving permanent criminal records. and completely ruining all their future prospects. Once a radiant and delicate class beauty, she has now become a despised outcast, shunned by everyone. Shen Su's college entrance exam violations have been officially recorded, disqualifying him from his dream school and casting an indelible stain on his future. After the college entrance exams, he came to me several times to apologize and beg for forgiveness, trying to salvage everything. I remained aloof and indifferent throughout, seeing the confident look on my face. After I estimated my scores, he said through tears, yelling, "I truly regret it. If I had known back then that I was being used by someone with ill intentions, I never would have. What I regret most is destroying the bond we had built over so many years." I was at the airport waiting for my best friend, who'd planned to go on our graduation trip together, when I saw him and said quietly /Shin Su, "Once you've done certain things, there's no turning back / the reason you've ended up like this is entirely your own doing / from now on let's both just live our lives in peace / in a past life there was a sea of blood and deep-seated hatred in this life. I watched with cold indifference. I have never owed him a single thing. The entire class had a profound awakening. They offered me a sincere apology for their 3 years of blind following, favoritism, and bandwagon isolation. At the celebration banquet, everyone huddled together in a tight embrace, declaring me the most capable class monitor. Even the parents of my classmates came to my home one after another to express their gratitude, thanking me for saving everyone. They finally realized that the class president, who had worked tirelessly for 3 years, quietly protected our class, and led the way in everything, had never made a single mistake. All the rumors and malicious slander were nothing but carefully fabricated illusions created by petty people on the day the college entrance exam results were announced. I ranked first in the entire school and secured one of the top positions in the city with my own abilities. I've earned a bright future of my own. I don't need any special privileges or preferential treatment anymore. Relying solely on my own strength, I've turned the tide against all odds, and now thrive in the light. In my past life, I was kind and dutiful, always thinking of the bigger picture. Yet, I ended up wrongfully killed and left my parents heartbroken and aged prematurely. In this life, I'm sharp and detached, putting self-preservation first, watching the world unfold with cold eyes, and finally reaping what I've sown: justice, served, and a bright future ahead. Good and evil in the human heart will always find their rightful end. Malicious schemes will ultimately vanish into thin air. Goodness is ultimately rewarded, and wickedness meets its just punishment. This absurd farce, which began on a college entrance exam bus, has finally drawn to a close with the most just of conclusions. For the rest of our lives, may we be safe and sound year after year, and may every step we take bloom with beauty. Story 2. I'm the true fox princess who was lost to the world. On my return to the palace, my so-called brother greeted me with sneers. A common street urchin dares call herself my sister, a princess of the fox royal clan. In your dreams, he shielded the lavishly dressed girl behind him as if I devour her alive. Mina is the only sister in my heart. Don't you dare covet what's rightfully hers. The next instant, Father King smacked my so-called brother's head with his fist. You wretched imposter. You're the one who was switched at birth. I'm the true Fox Clan princess who was lost to the world on the day I returned home. Only my twin brother Veyron stood at the palace gates, perched on the highest step. He eyed me like I was gutter filth. What gutter rat dares trespass in the royal palace? He sneered. You think wearing decent clothes makes you a princess? Nina is the only sister in my heart. Don't you dare covet what belongs to her. His words left me utterly speechless. 1. I couldn't be bothered to argue with this idiot, and tried to brush past him, but he suddenly grabbed my wrist with brutal force. The idiot's grip was crushing my bones. Who said you could leave? Veyron's voice suddenly sharpened with the king absent. I am the crown prince. This palace answers to me. How dare some bastard of unknown lineage turn his back on royalty? I twisted, free from his grasp. Is this how a crown prince abuses his power? No wonder the Fox clan is declining. How dare you? Without royal lineage, you're but a commoner. Kneel before your sovereign, or I'll feed you to the palace beasts this instant. The surrounding servants had already prostrated themselves in terror. Their heads hung, so low they nearly touched the ground, not daring to even breathe loudly. This pitiful display revealed exactly how he'd been throwing his weight around all along. I took half a step forward, forcing him to instinctively retreat. Dow, I let out a derisive chuckle. Soft, yet every syllable razor sharp. Save it for when you actually claim the Fox clan's throne. His fox tail snapped open with a swish, only to recoil from the golden light radiating from me. You. How could someone with such weak spiritual power block my attack? Veyron bristled with rage, his white fur standing on end as icy glints flashed in his eyes. Big bro if you suck. Just practice more. Father returns in 3 days. We'll discuss any matters after his arrival. Today I'm merely here by royal decree to attend the banquet. Veyron snorted contemptuously. I heard the 9th prince of the Wolf clan is attending. You'd best curb your vulgar temper and avoid trouble. Are you describing yourself? Brother, that temper of yours is truly uncouth, hardly fit for polite company. With that, I turned and walked away, ignoring his furious roars behind me out of the corner of my eye. I saw him kick over the bronze lampstand. Sparks scattered across the white marble floor, mirroring his barely contained rage. I strode through the wreckage with my back straight and head held high. I'm Lyra. Grew up running the streets with 9th brother since I was knee-high. He's got the most skilled hands on this block, from simple copper locks on commoners' doors to elaborate glass lanterns in tavern halls. Nothing remained broken under the deft touch of his slender fingers. I'd always crouch beside him, passing tools while watching him squint as he polished copper sheets. Little lass, that spiritual energy of yours can't stay hidden. 9th brother would often mutter while filing golden wires. True nobility can't stay hidden forever. It'll show through sooner or later. I thought he was just pulling my leg again. I just waved my hand and fiddled with the newly repaired bronze bell. 9th brother's talking nonsense again. What nobility? If we had any, we'd be living the high life already. 9th brother remained silent, merely offering a faint smile. Then one day, a gilded carriage pulled up in front of our shabby stall. Out stepped a man in brocade robes with cloud patterns. His bearing instantly marked him as someone of importance. He didn't even glance at our wares, just jerked his chin at me the moment his fingertips brushed my wrist. My spiritual energy surged like a lit fuse, looking to die. Only later did I learn that those capable of gauging spiritual power so effortlessly must be at least elder ranked within the clan. No mistake, this is royal bloodline. He withdrew his hand, his tone carrying unshakable conviction. Your Highness, please return to the palace with me. He spoke with utmost deference. My mind exploded with a deafening roar. Suddenly, 9th brother's warnings I dismissed as jokes came rushing back. He once probed my spiritual energy like this. 2. Turns out he was no ordinary commoner at all. But before I could grab him for a proper explanation, when I turned back, the familiar bamboo stool behind the stall stood empty. Only a tarnished old bronze mirror remained. It lay quietly on the freshly cleaned wooden board. The reflective surface showed my startled face. Just like that, I was brought back. But royalty would never allow their bloodline to wander astray. When my father found me, he said fragments of my soul had been stolen. That's why both my appearance and spiritual powers were suppressed. He needed 3 days to restore what was taken. So Elder Fan and I returned ahead of the others. But we were ambushed along the way, and I fled alone until I reached a cave that night. Heavy snow fell as I shivered violently in my thin clothing. In the freezing cave that night, I sat clutching the old bronze mirror 9th brother had left me. 9th brother, I'm starting to miss you. I don't want to be a princess anymore. Then I passed out, and when I came to, I was enveloped in golden armor. From that moment on, no attack could so much as scratch me. I initially thought bandits had emerged due to lack security in those mountains. Someone in this palace doesn't want me back. 2. Elder Fan reported to me at the banquet entrance. Your Highness, the Wolf clan prince will arrive shortly. This old minister must oversee the banquet preparations. We cannot afford any mishaps. Elder Fan bowed respectfully. The once-in-a-decade royal banquet approaches with nobles and dignitaries gathering in full force. Even the neighboring wolf clans, prince will be in attendance. The Fox clan elders are all cunning schemers, vying for power and prestige. Since father's departure from the palace, only Elder Fan remains trustworthy, leaving him swamped with responsibilities. Elder, please make yourself at home. I turned and entered the courtyard. The banquet was crowded, and I sought a quiet corner to avoid attention. No sooner had I sat down than Veyron approached with a retinue of noble science. You dare show your face here? What an embarrassment to the Fox clan. He looked down his nose as derisive laughter erupted from the surrounding crowd. Veyron, this sister bears no resemblance to Mina. Are they truly twins? Indeed, it looks rather mediocre. I adjusted my sleeves and swept a glance across them. How leisurely you young masters appear. Whether I'm a princess or not, I remain Elder Fan's honored guest. You self-proclaimed nobles who pride yourselves on etiquette show less courtesy than my common-bred dog. Huang, at least he wags his tail when greeting visitors. At these words, the young masters turned, ashen-faced. Veyron bellowed, how dare you show such insolence to your sovereign? His booming voice instantly silenced the banquet hall. Every eye in the room snapped toward my utterly ordinary, magically feeble face. Who's this? Heard she's some long-lost princess. Princess Mina's own sister. They're nothing alike. Probably an imposter. The king hasn't returned yet. Who knows if she's legit? And she dares to defy the crown prince. She's got a death wish. The whispers from the ladies' gallery pricked like needles, and cursed with sharp ears. I caught every word. I had intended to wait for my father, the king's return, before making any decisions. Damn that Veyron. What an insufferable fool. You're not even in the royal registry. Just a commoner insulting the crown prince is treason. An elder clad in white robes emerged from the crowd, clearly favoring Veyron. A capital offense. I arched my brow. Pray tell, elder, which law does it violate? The white-robed elder choked on his words before raising his staff in humiliated fury. Disrespect toward the crown prince constitutes treason against the throne. By law, the punishment is... What shall it be? I took half a step forward, forcing him to instinctively retreat. 3 days in the frozen abyss, or public fling of your foxtail. My gaze fell on the silver thread hem of his robe. Elder Yura, the keeper of punishments. Yet he couldn't cite a single specific statute. The assembled nobles either exchanged knowing glances to cover for him or wore blank expressions. Not one dared challenge his falsehoods. These so-called elites lorded over commoners with contempt, yet can't even recall their own decrees. What protection can such rulers possibly offer? To think the Fox clan has sunk this low. Since you lack understanding, I shall enlighten you. Article 1. All subjects of Qingzhou, regardless of rank, shall enjoy the protection of royal law, and must abide by it. Article 2. Only the sovereign and high priest may amend Qingzhou's laws. All other modifications require joint petition from the Elder Council, and the sovereign's personal approval. I froze in place Article 3 within Qingzhou's borders. All legal disputes, whether involving royalty or commoners, shall be judged by the letter of law, never by social standing alone. Every word crisp and resonant. I continued reciting deliberately Article 12 of the Code. Enough! Elder Yura snapped sharply. What exactly are you trying to accomplish? I smiled, but not a trace of warmth reached my eyes. Elder seems to have forgotten. Article 12 clearly states, those unrecorded in the Jade Register shall be treated as common foxes unless convicted of treason. They are exempt from royal punishment. Pray tell which of my words constitute treason. He slammed the table violently, spilling half a cup of wine, reciting laws before the entire court. Do you mean to make Qingzhou's elders the laughingstock of the realm? Needing lessons from a mirror? Girl, you flatter me. Elder, perhaps age has clouded your memory. I merely assist in tidying up. After all, one misremembered law character could free the guilty or condemn the innocent. My final words carried deliberate weight, and from the corner of my eye, I saw his grip tighten around the scepter. I shifted my tone abruptly. When the king returns, I shall petition that the elders, having toiled for years, deserve their rest. Should feeble hands cling stubbornly to power, hindering our people's affairs, would that not betray both the crown's trust and our kin's hopes? A pity indeed. His beard bristled with rage, yet the glacial glint in my eyes choked his retort. The hall fell deathly silent. No one expected this bastard to not only defy the elders, but also wield the law with razor precision, every word piercing their dignity and authority. Elder Yora, after a century overseeing punishments, surely you know the law abhors might overwrite. I pressed closer. If power alone decides all matters, we might as well burn those 136 statutes to ashes. His face turned pus, the ceremonial staff thudding against golden tiles. Yet not a single word escaped him. What's all this lively banquet about? Came a cultured, gentle voice. I looked up to see a man of breathtaking nobility and beauty. When his face came into focus, my heart lurched violently. Ninth brother, the ninth prince. Could he be the Wolf Clan's crown prince? We pay our respects to Princess Mina. 3. The assembly suddenly rose to their feet in salute. Only then did I notice my twin sister accompanying ninth. Brother Veyron glared at me furiously. I'll tolerate your insolence toward me, but how dare you disrespect Mina? Thou this instant, Lyra, kneel only to heaven, earth, and my parents. No one else shall ever command my obeisance. You filthy little. Veyron's insult was cut short. Brother, is this our long-lost sister? Mina approached slowly, her rosy cheeks clearly painted with rouge, while her frail body betrayed underlying weakness. As her hand touched my arm, an unnatural chill radiated from her. Could this be signs of poisoning? I am Mina, your twin sister. She smiled with gentle purity. Between sisters, why stand on ceremony? Everyone, take your seats. No need for formalities. She pulled me down beside her. What's your name? LRA. 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 What a lovely name. I'm not in the Jade Register, so I can't bear the by surname. It was only a matter of time. If father says it's you, then I believe it. She gazed at me. Seeing you fills me with an inexplicable warmth. I smiled back, though I couldn't match her gentle demeanor. I thought it strange enough that my brother and I looked nothing alike, but now I see even we twins have our own distinct features. It wasn't until Mina said this that I realized Veyron bears no resemblance to Mina either. Royal bloodlines should possess formidable spiritual power, yet neither of them exhibits any trace of it. What could have gone wrong here? With a sweeping glance, the familiar figure had already vanished. Only those of distinguished status may attend this banquet. Sister, who is that by your side? The Wolf King's youngest son. Now it seems different, just as I thought. I froze in place. Had I mistaken his identity? Or had ninth brother concealed his true status from me? Elder Fan arrived fashionably late with measured courtesy. He bowed to me, Mina, and Veyron, neither obsequious nor arrogant. Before proceeding to the host's seat, he unfastened the obsidian token from his waist. The nine-tailed fox engraving on the token flared with golden light, the royal insignia personally bestowed by his father in Qingzhou. None would dare question that the bearer's word was the king's command as the token met the table with a dull thud. Every whisper in the hall died instantly by royal decree. Lyra of the White Chamber, long-lost princess of the royal bloodline, has been recovered in 3 days' time. She shall be inscribed in the Jade genealogy as the third princess henceforth to be addressed as Her Highness LRA. Furthermore, Princess LRA is hereby appointed High Priestess, presiding over royal rights, and participating in governance of clan affairs. This decree binds all subjects of Qingzhou. From this moment forth, as the final words rang out, he slammed the command tablet onto the jade desk with deliberate force. The obsidian tablet struck the jade surface with a thunderous chime, its crystalline resonance silencing all murmurs of dissent. Veyron's knuckles turned white as he clenched the cup, his face flushing crimson without uttering a word. Elder Yura's expression darkened abruptly as he staggered backward half a step, nearly knocking over the lampstand. I stared in bewilderment. Why was he reacting so strongly? The banquet continued as usual, though now I found myself surrounded by fawning sycophants. Very Foxtail bristled with fury at the sight. Yet that fleeting encounter left my heart in disarray. What's on your mind, little sister? Mina clasped my hand with affectionate warmth. Nothing. Just this endless banquet of mutual flattery. It turns my stomach with its tediousness. Mina chuckled at my words. She quickly made up an excuse to whisk me away from their back at the palace. I polished the bronze mirror 9th brother had left behind. Recalling our recent encounter, my heart churned with mixed emotions. Crash! The palace doors were kicked to splinters. Veyron barged in with a retinue of servants. His gaze flickered over the bronze mirror in my hand like he'd spotted something vile. She grabbed a tray of jewels and hurled them violently at my feet. Country bumpkins will always be country bumpkins, treating worthless trinkets like treasures. The shattered remnants of glittering jewelry mingled with fragments of 9th brother's bronze mirror lay scattered in disarray around my feet. Look at this mess. Now this is what I call a princess's belonging. Have the decency to toss that filthy mirror to the dogs. No, wait. Even mutts would turn up their noses at such trash. I hastily picked up the bronze mirror and clutched it tightly. He's trying to establish his authority by trampling over me. How generous of you, brother. Finished with the banquet, and now you've time to come bother me. My smile was frost-placed when I lifted my gaze. Is kicking down doors and smashing belongings what passes for royal decorum? Who the hell do you think you are to lecture about propriety? He suddenly lunged to snatch my bronze mirror. This junk is just an eyesore. Let me smash it for you. I dodged sideways, clutching the bronze mirror tightly to my chest. This belongs to me. Keep your hands off it. Yours. He looked like he just heard the joke of the century in the royal city of Qingzhou. There's nothing I desire that I cannot touch. You insignificant wretch. After today's insolence toward the elders, and humiliating them before the court, Father will surely skin your fox hide when he returns. You stayed silent when he wanted to condemn me, yet now you twist my defense into disrespect. If you're so devoted to Elder Yora, why not let that old fool take the roles of high priest? And princess too? I walked forward, each step crunching on shattered jade with crystalline cracks. Veyron, am I not her father's daughter? Your own blood sister? You keep coming after me again and again. Do you really think I'm some pushover? He lunged at me like a rabid dog whose tail had been stepped on, snarling viciously. I'd never accept a sister who crawled out of the mud like you. Your very existence tarnishes the royal bloodline. Afraid I'll stain your reputation. Or is it that pathetic throne fantasy of yours you're worried I'll share? I sidestepped his grasping hand with a derisive snort. Even the thieving rats outside the palace can see through your scheme. You fear this suddenly appeared sister might block your path to absolute power. Afraid of you? He blustered with false bravado, yet retreated step by step under my piercing gaze. Don't forget, I'm the high priest. You will show me due respect. Ridiculous. Once I ascend the throne, your high priest title will be revoked at my whim. Brother should secure that throne first. Veyron gritted his teeth and swung his arm to attack me. Yet again, he was repelled by the golden light. Though I didn't know the origin of this golden glow around me, it effortlessly deflected their assaults. Just you wait. The elders will never let a bastard like you taint the royal bloodline. For then Veyron fled with his tail between his legs, seething with rage. Disgusted by his wretched presence, I raised my hand to erect a barrier. But scarcely had I closed my eyes when the barrier was shattered by a surge of brutish spiritual energy stewing in silent fury. I stepped outside, Elder Black Fox, and Yura stood before the hall, their swirling spiritual energy radiating murderous intent. Any fool could tell these were reinforcements summoned by that idiot Veyron. To what do we owe the honor of your presence? Elders, come to seek. Just as for Veyron, the prophecy tree has spoken. Elder Black Fox stepped forward solemnly, revealing the royal bloodline to be false. They say the third princess encountered bandits on her return journey, fleeing alone into the woods. It was Elder Fan who eventually found you in a cave. Is this true? That is correct. In that case, how do we know you're not an imposter who sees the chance to replace the real princess and infiltrate the palace in disguise? Elder Yura let out a cold chuckle, his tail sweeping the ground with a rustling sound. We're here today to test your true lineage. If you're indeed an imposter, we'll strip your spiritual powers on the spot and throw you into the abyssal frost for a century of frozen torment. Watching his eager anticipation, I suddenly burst into laughter. The Eller's decree still stands. Does it not? Once issued, all of Qingzhou must obey. I am now the third princess and high priestess. You show me disrespect by day and invade my palace by night. Elder Yura, is this what you call reverence for royal authority? Elder Yura's face darkened instantly, the white fur on his tail bristling like quills. Are you implying we're defying the royal decree? The black fox snapped. I wouldn't dare. I straightened my spine, matching his intensity without yielding. Since His Majesty has acknowledged me, you doubters can wait for his return. In 3 days, Hell rendered judgment himself. You've no right to order me about. Render judgment. Elder Yura suddenly bellowed. The king's judgment is clouded by guilt. Where's the royal protocol in his eyes? Handing you the high priesthood without vetting your origins or verifying your lineage. A gutter-born bastard raised among tinkers. What would you know of sacred rites? He stared fixedly at the bronze mirror in my arms, as if beholding something vile. I'll make him see your true colors. A vulgar impostor like you could never be genuine. What do you want? I asked through gritted teeth. A bloodline test with the prince, said the black fox elder. If you share kinship, the lotus pond shall glow golden. Agreed. But I require Elderfan's presence. At this moment, fearing they might stir up more trouble, I had no choice but to seek Elderfan's assistance. Elderfan is away on palace business. We shall escort you instead, said Elder Yura. My heart tightened with unease. They came fully prepared. The lotus pond is our sacred relic, flawless for generations. If you were truly the princess, why cower in fear instead of stepping forward? The black fox appeared far calmer than Yura. It seems I have no choice but to go. Fine, I'll come with you. But when the king returns, they'll make you pay if this turns out to be false accusation. Let's see what kind of tricks they're trying to pull. The mossy stone slabs by the lotus pond grew slick with morning dew. The elders stood encircling me like a wall, their piercing gazes fixed upon me. Veyron walked by my side, his tail held high with pride. His smugness was practically oozing from his eyes. Huff when the pool shows no reaction later. Let's see how you'll dare to linger in Qingzhou. He lowered his voice, the certainty in his tone sharp as needles. I ignored him, staring at the pink-white lotuses floating on the pond surface. Beneath these waters lie the bones of generations of royalty. Legend says when siblings of shared blood enter the pool together, golden light erupts from every lotus, and the waters boil like molten gold. This is the most ancient bloodline verification ritual of Qingzhou, never once proven wrong. Elder Yura stepped forward, his voice carrying unnaturally loud across the still pond. Princess LRA, Prince Veyron, as true siblings, let this lotus pond bear witness. His words sounded fair, yet carried a barely perceptible challenge in their cadence. Veyron stepped into the pool first, shooting me a challenging glance. I took a deep breath, gathered my skirt, and waded into the water. Told you she's a fraud. Look how the pool's completely undisturbed. Before the words faded, Veyron suddenly snorted with derision. See that? Even the lotus pond rejects you. I stared at the still water where pale pink lotuses floated undisturbed. Not a golden glimmer. Not even the faintest ripple stirred. The shore erupted in hushed whispers. Fake. Absolutely fake. The prophecy tree was right. There's wild filth polluting the royal bloodline. I knew it. Since when do royal princesses look like this? Some mountain hag must have stolen decent clothes to worm her way into the palace. What are we waiting for? Elderfan must be senile to bring her back. A fraud like this deserves to have her magic stripped and be thrown to the frost serpents. Even the silent gray-robed elder frowned deeply, speaking gravely to Elder Yura. Brother Yura, enough with her. The paternity test speaks for itself. Keeping her around now would be a slap in the royal family's face. Their words pierced me like venom-tipped icicles, and pierced right through this crumbling facade of royal dignity. 2. All the daytime flattery vanished without a trace. Article 36 of the Royal Code. Those who falsely claim royal lineage shall have their foxtails severed, and be exiled to the sea of no return. Finally learned to quote the law. Elder must have crammed all night. I sneered. He slammed the stone table in fury. How dare you? Vaughn flicked his tail in the water, sending a chilling spray that drenched my face. You still running your mouth when death's at your door. 5. Come, and get me if you dare. I clenched my fists, knowing the king's return would settle this. Seize them. Wait. A sharp shout rang out. It was Ninth Brother's voice. His voice cut through the clamor of debate. freezing everyone in their tracks. Standing beside ninth brother was Mina. Though pale and weak, Mina's words carried undeniable weight. There's more to this bloodline test. The morning wind whipped through Mina's plain white robes. Her gaze swept across the still lotus pond as she enunciated each word. Clearly, when bloodlines are damaged, only a close relative spiritual energy can activate the lotus pond. Lyra's weak energy proves her lineage is compromised. Nina stated. Veyron's face twisted abruptly like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. Shrieking, why should I transfer spiritual energy to her? Who knows what schemes this fraud has in mind? Mina didn't look at him, her gaze fixed solely on me. Her eyes held unshakable determination. Then I'll do it. Before the words faded, she lifted her skirts and stepped into the pool. The icy water rose past her hemline. Step by step, she approached me until her fingertips lightly touched my forehead. Don't be afraid, she whispered. A warm surge of spiritual energy flowed gently from her fingertips into my body. In that instant, I could feel the blocked meridians burst open. Every fiber of my being was bathed in warmth. I could even feel the stolen fragment of my soul resonating faintly under the pull of spiritual energy. Boom! The next instant, countless golden specks erupted from the pool's depths. In an instant, a vast web of light wore itself around Mina and me. Golden light shot straight into the heavens, gilding even the distant morning clouds. The murmurs on shore ceased abruptly. You could have heard a pin drop. Veyron's triumphant grin froze on his face. The golden light shimmered around just the two of us. Veyron stood nearby like an outsider. Elder Yora's hands turned white-knuckled as he gripped the stone table, veins bulging. Elder Black Fox's face drained of all color. Her lips trembled, unable to utter a single word. Well done. Now he's offended both princesses. Nina withdrew her hand, gazing at the pool of golden light. She smiled faintly. Her gentle gaze melted like spring thaw. See, it recognizes you from this day forth. Let me see who dares question the third princess's legitimacy. Yet all eyes turned to the motionless Veyron. What's happening? Why isn't the crown prince bathed in golden light? Could it be because Princess Mina transferred her spiritual energy to Princess LRA? The whisper started up again along the shore. I found their gossip irritating, and quickly escorted Mina and ninth brother away. After Mina helped me out of that awkward situation, she claimed to feel unwell and returned to the palace. Left with no choice, I brought ninth brother back to my own quarters. Ninth brother, and I walked in silence. I was at a loss for words. Ask him who he really is. Why hide your true identity? Why did you disappear without a word? Never mind. It's all meaningless anyway. How have you been lately? After a long silence, ninth brother was the first to speak. Life's great. Feasting on delicacies. Living the high life. Really? Don't play dumb. If I were doing well, would you keep bailing me out every time I sighed in exasperation? Ninth brother said helplessly. I can't interfere in Fox clan affairs. Your sister here is a good soul. She'll help you when she can. If only you were of the wolf clan, I'd never let these treacherous curs come near you. But I am a fox, so you just abandoned me without a word. Not even a single message. Isn't that right? Ninth Highness. Suddenly, Mina's handmaiden burst into the room. Third princess, my lady has fainted. Inside the palace hall, the royal physician kept his head bowed low, fearing my wrath. Princess LRA, Princess Mina was already at death's door, sustained only by the Millennium's Snow Lotus last lifeline. After forcibly channeling spiritual energy and suffering the Frost Pool's chill invasion, her condition is now beyond remedy, beyond saving. My fists clenched until fingernails bit into my palms. She was just speaking by the pool moments ago. How could it be beyond remedy? Ninth brother sensed something amiss and personally checked her pulse. Her spiritual energy carries a faint metallic taint. Not chills, but poison. The poison runs deep, indistinguishable from her chronic illness in daily life. Ninth brother looked at me solemnly. Someone deliberately harmed your sister. We must find this person to obtain the antidote. I frowned slightly. I sensed something was off last time, but it wasn't this bad. Why has it suddenly gotten worse now? Suddenly, I caught a glimpse of an almost invisible needle mark on her wrist. Had I not been born with keen senses, I'd never have spotted it. Who could make silver needles vanish between their fingers, killing without a trace among the Fox clan? Only shadow needles leave such untraceable puncture wounds. Ninth brother said, "Who knows the shadow needle technique?" Shadow needles. That would be none other than your elder Yora. Though ninth brother is a prince from another clan, having lived with me in the Fox tribe for so many years, he's privy to quite a bit of information. Are you suggesting elder Yora is trying to frame your sister? It's more than that. I've always felt he's got it out for me. The way he acts isn't just about Veyron. It's like he's got some personal vendetta against me. From what I know, the high priest of your Fox clan holds the most prestigious position after the king, typically reserved for royal or noble offspring. Before you came along, the Fox king only had 2 children. Your brother was the designated crown prince, while your sister's poor health confined her to rest. Thus, the high priest position had to be filled by selecting a gifted child from the noble families. The originally appointed high priest was Elder Yura's eldest son. Hearing ninth brother's explanation, everything suddenly made sense to me. How dare he attempt to assassinate the princess? Your Fox clan values the law above all. This is a capital offense. For power's sake, he's repeatedly defied the king's orders to harass me. What wouldn't he dare? Besides, he's just a senile old man who never bothered to learn the laws. All he knows is bullying others with his authority. No wonder Mina was born with divine strength, while Veyron remains utterly ordinary. But when Mina fell terminally ill, Veyron became crown prince instead. Their true motive was propping up that fool Veyron to maintain their own power. And now my father still hasn't recovered my soul. My spiritual power isn't much stronger than Mina's. That's why they're seizing this chance to eliminate me. These wolves in elders' clothing couldn't care less about royal protocols. All they see are unclaimed thrones, and the ambition to climb over corpses. Ninth brother, I'm going to settle scores with that old fox. I'll go with you. Never mind. This is Fox clan business. Best you stay out of it. Don't worry. I know my limits. I knew he wouldn't listen to me, so I stopped trying to hold him back. Elder Yora's residence was heavily guarded. I was about to charge in alone when ninth brother grabbed my arm, LRA acting on impulse again with a wave of his hand. Both of us turned transparent. Invisibility magic, your clan's secret technique. Picked it up easily as a gifted youngster. Seeing his usual carefree demeanor, I pursed my lips. You shameless old coot. With that, I strode right past the guards without a care. LRA, who are you calling old 7? I'm barely a century older than you. Damn brat. Wait for me. Bung. The temple doors burst open as Veyron stumbled in, his fox fur disheveled, and his voice trembling uncontrollably. Elders. Disaster. Everyone saying, I'm a fraud. You all saw it. The golden light never shone upon me. He clutched at Elder Yura's robe with such force his nails nearly tore through the fabric. Elder, am I truly the king's son? I beg you, tell me, what should I do now? The king will return to the palace any moment. If this is discovered, they'll cast me into the frozen abyss. Elder Yura, thoroughly annoyed, violently shook off his hand, panicking like a fool. Useless coward. Black Fox suddenly understood everything upon seeing Elder Yura's reaction. You senile old fool. You knew all along, didn't you? Yura remained silent, tacitly conceding the point. Old bye. It was you who claimed the prophecy Tree spoke. That's why I fell for your damned lies. Black Fox palled with shock and fury, and yet you still sided with that imposter Veyron. Now we've thoroughly alienated both princesses. Don't pin this all on me. Black. The king gave what rightfully belonged to my son to her. How could I possibly accept that? And what exactly am I supposed to do? Elder Yura clenched his fists until his knuckles turned white. I've poured my soul into propping up that worthless Veyron all these years. Now, with the third princess's return, everything's ruined. The king's imminent return leaves us no choice. If we don't eliminate those 2 princesses, Veyron's true identity will be exposed sooner or later. We'll all be dead men then. Black Fox's gaze turned razor sharp as he advanced step by step. Oh, buy out with it. How long have you known? Or was this your scheme from the very beginning? Silence. Your award. Slamming the table as he sprang to his feet. If the princess had cooperated, I wouldn't have gone through all this trouble to prop up a worthless puppet. Veyron was never of royal blood, to begin with. If not for him, why would I have risked poisoning Princess Mina? He turned to the trembling Veyron, a flash of cruelty in his eyes. Now you're scared. Where was this fear earlier? Veyron collapsed to the ground in terror, babbling incoherently. I don't know. Elder, you must save me. My identity is fabricated, and I've angered her. If the king finds out, I'm finished. Yura roared with fury, then turned toward Black Fox with murderous intent flashing in his eyes. But Black Fox, since you've learned the truth today, you won't be leaving here alive. Before the words faded, Yura's fingertips had already conjured an azure barrier, poised to trap the Black Fox within its shimmering prison. The barrier shattered like glass. Ninth Brother stood, suddenly in the hall's center, massive hands hanging limp, his voice dripping with glacial venom. Old fool, you broke LRA's barrier yesterday. Today I dismantle your magic. Consider us even. I stepped out from behind him, a cold smirk playing on my lips. Perfect timing, it seems. Elder Yura's pupils contracted at our sudden appearance before he forced composure. So it's you. Enough talk. I took a step forward, my gaze sharp as a blade. Hand over Mina's antidote, and I might let you live. Yura burst into maniacal laughter, his voice dripping with madness. Antidote. Soul Bane is a forbidden FoxClan poison, utterly incurable if not for that imbecile bungling everything. You'd never have traced this to me. Still defiant at this hour, I roared in fury. Before I could strike, the Black Fox had already ghosted behind Yura. A vicious palm strike landed squarely between Yura's shoulder blades. Caught off guard, Yura coughed up blood violently before collapsing to his knees. Damn. The older the ginger, the hotter the spice. The older the fox, the slyer the vice. Ninth Brother's eyes flashed with alertness as he immediately shielded me behind him. Just as the Black Fox prepared to strike again, Ninth Brother's fingertips erupted with golden light as two divine binding ropes darted forth like spirit serpents. With a swish, they tightly snared both the Black Fox and Yura. Lera, get them out of here. Ninth Brother's voice was utterly devoid of warmth. I glanced at the two figures, writhing on the ground, and smirked with dark amusement. So, it's not just foxes that are cunning in this world. Wolves play dirty, too. Veyron staggered backward at the sight. What? What do you think you're doing? I'm the Crown Prince, the future king of the Fox Clan. Lay a single finger on me, and see what happens. When Father returns, he'll skin you alive, still dreaming about being crowned prince. Dear brother, I let out a soft chuckle. Did you think I didn't hear Elder Yura's words? The term imposter came straight from his lips, crystal clear. He suddenly let out a piercing scream, his hands clawing desperately at his own hair until his knuckles turned white from the strain. I am not. I was born in the palace, raised in the palace. My name is I'm the Crown Prince, the heir apparent. Who the hell do you think you are? Some bastard crawled out of the mud dares question me. His voice abruptly dropped to a whisper as madness swirled darkly in his eyes. You think I don't see through your scheme trying to steal my throne? Did you conspire with Nina to frame me to have me thrown out like some mangy dog? Dream on. Let me tell you, if I insist you're an imposter, Father might never believe you. So what if I'm not the real one? Everyone in the palace has acknowledged me as prince for years who believes some random upstart like you before the words faded. His eyes flashed with malice as he secretly gathered spiritual energy. TCH 9th Brother's deep voice carried a chilling reprimand as his broad palm pressed lightly atop my head, gently pulling me further behind him. Not a single strand of hair stirred as he merely turned his face slightly. His gaze fell upon Veyron like a blade tempered in ice. One more move, and I'll strip you of all your spiritual power. The voice wasn't loud, yet carried an undeniable authority. I leaned against 9th Brother's back, breathing in his crisp herbal scent. The irritation stirred by Veyron's manic behavior suddenly dissipated with him here. It felt like someone would shield me, even if the sky fell. You insolent wretch! The king has returned. This is outrageous. The king's wrath was terrible to behold. Yura, how dare you lay hands on my child right under my nose, and attempt to taint the royal bloodline? You've got a death wish. Before the words faded, Veyron came stumbling in, throwing himself at the king with a wail. The villain strikes first with accusations. Father, you finally returned. That upstart girl from the common folk has been lording it over the palace. These days, your son has suffered terribly at her hands. The king suddenly raised his foot and kicked him to the ground, glaring down at him with cold dominance. Did you truly believe I was unaware of your schemes? Gale by your side has revealed everything. Don't you realize who truly holds the power here? Veyron's lip bled from the kick, but at the mention of Gale, his face drained of all color. Father, you've been having me watched. I'd heard rumors of your depravity, but refused to believe them. Now I see the truth with my own eyes. The king bellowed. By my decree, Prince Veyron, for his moral failings, is hereby stripped of his crown prince title and banished to the sea of desolation for life. No, father. Veyron scrambled up like a madman, pointing at me and howling. Is it because this bastard child returned that you favor her? So, father, I am your true son. You wretched mistake. You're the one who was switched at birth. The word struck like thunder, leaving Veyron deathly, pale as he collapsed to the ground. Suddenly, he let out a piercing laugh, the sound dripping with utter despair. No wonder I could never measure up to my sister. So I was the imposter all along. I'm the real fraud here. As the guards moved in to drag him away, he had no strength left to struggle. Like a broken puppet, the king took a deep breath. Suppressing his rage, I stepped forward anxiously, my voice laced with urgency. Nah, still poisoned with corpse bloom. And that bastard Yura refuses to hand over the antidote. What are we supposed to do? The king gazed out the window with a heavy sigh, speaking in grave tones. It's not that he refused. This corpse dust poison simply has no antidote. Yura never intended to let Mina live from the very beginning. How could this be? My legs gave way beneath me, barely able to stand. What about Mina? What are we going to do? LRA, don't panic. The king turned his gaze toward me, his eyes glimmering with faint hope. You and Nina share the same bloodline. If you channel your spiritual energy daily to nourish her meridians, there might still be a slim chance to save her. Even if she doesn't wake up immediately, your spiritual energy, shielding her vital meridians, will at least keep her out of mortal danger. He paused, his tone grave. The king himself performed the ritual, anchoring my soul firmly within this vessel. My soul had finally returned to its rightful place. In an instant, blinding golden light erupted from my entire body. A warm current surged through every fiber of my being. My long-logged pulse suddenly thrmed back to life with a resonant hum. Instinctively raising a hand to my cheek, I turned toward the bronze mirror in the hall. The reflection bore Mina's exact likeness. No wonder we three once appeared as triplets. In the end, one was a stranger, the other a deceiver in disguise. Your spiritual energy has just recovered. This might be too much for your body to handle. It's all right. Men's condition worsened because of me, so I'm more than willing to protect her vital meridians. The king nodded approvingly before turning to Ninth Brother with a cooped hand salute. Your Highness, we owe you a great debt for saving my daughter. This kindness shall not be forgotten. As for the elders of the 100 clans, set your mind at ease. Your intervention in our affairs was justified, and I shall ensure they grant you pardon. It's just that those old stick-in-the-muds don't dare speak up. You might have to stay with our clan a while longer. He paused, his gaze sincere. I truly appreciate your efforts this time. Name your reward. I recall your people have long coveted our treasure blade. No, I want nothing at all. Ninth Brother smiled faintly, his tone casual and offhand. Seeing LRA safe and sound puts my mind at ease. The scenery in Chinkyo is delightful. Staying longer wouldn't hurt. You know each other. Father's face was filled with shock as he looked between Ninth Brother and me. Clearly didn't expect us to have this kind of connection more than just knowing each other. He practically raised me. I pursed my lips, teasing him on purpose. Ninth Brother gave me a resigned look and explained, "Don't listen to this little one's nonsense. When I first traveled here, she was nearing adulthood. Seeing her living in such hardship, I simply stayed a few extra years to keep her company." 9. The king finally understood, his gaze toward the ninth prince now filled with gratitude and respect. So that's how it was. We're truly indebted to your highness for watching over our daughter all these years. The king accorded the ninth prince the highest honors befitting a royal guest. From then on, my days were spent channeling spiritual energy into Mina. Each time I returned from Mina's palace, I'd be so drained I couldn't even lift a finger. Ninth brother would always appear at this moment with a bowl of restorative broth. Despite his usual carefree demeanor, he remained hopeless at caregiving. The way he clumsily fed me soup was just like when he bandaged my wounds years ago. All thumbs. And flustered, ninth brother. I heard father plans to name me crown prince. Expected. He blew on the spoonful of soup without looking up. I also heard, father has dealt with those old hardliners. They won't pursue your interference in Fox clan affairs anymore. Just as expected, he brought the spoon to my lips. If the Fox King lacked such basic skills, he wouldn't last long in that position. But aren't you curious about how he did it? Ninth brother paused the spoon midair and asked with a smile, how exactly? Do tell. He said, you are Fox clan's betrothed son-in-law. Ninth brother's hand holding the soup bowl trembled violently, nearly spilling the broth on me. Seeing him frozen in place with that dazed look in his eyes, I felt an inexplicable pang of disappointment. Yet, I still forced a carefree smile and gave him a pat on the shoulder. Don't worry, ninth brother. It's not like you're really becoming our Fox clan son-in-law. Well, just annul the engagement after some time passes. I know you love traveling the world. Truth be told, so do I. But now that I'm the crown prince, I won't have the same freedom as before. I can't bear to shackle your freedom. 2. Besides, forcing us together through a political marriage between our clans would be doing you a great injustice. He remained silent, only picking up the spoon again, his movements noticeably gentler than before. He fed me spoonful after spoonful of soup, his eyes veiled with unreadable emotions. Watching him bring another spoon to my lips, I quickly turned my head away. Ninth brother, what are you doing? I haven't even swallowed yet. I can feed myself. With that, I reached out to snatch the soup bowl from his hands with a deft twist of his wrist. Ninth brother effortlessly dodged, leaving me stumbling forward and nearly sliding off the couch. He looked down at me, the corners of his eyes crinkling with an unreadable amusement, though his voice grew deeper. Who told you I was unwilling? I froze abruptly, blinking in surprise. No one told me you were willing. If I weren't willing, he flicked my nose with a chuckle, his voice laced with exasperated amusement. Why would a crown prince waste his days playing nursemaid to you? I touched the tip of my nose and muttered, maybe you're just a natural-born caregiver. You little brat. Ninth brother was left speechless by my remark and gave me a light flick on the forehead. Yet, amusement sparkled in his eyes as he sighed. You'll be the death of me when you left without a word. I thought you were trying to ditch me like some dead weight. His hand stilled mid-motion as he arched an eyebrow. If I hadn't bolted, your father's royal guard would have mistaken me for a princess snatching trafficker and skewered me on the spot. You're blaming me. Without my help, you'd have turned into a frozen fox popsicle in that cave. Seeing me rendered speechless, he grinned instead, mischief glinting in his eyes. How do you think your clan elder managed to pinpoint you among 100 caves? You've got your ninth brother to thank for that. Besides, why would a wolf prince like me bother attending some Fox clan banquet? My heartbeat suddenly faltered as I clutched my sleeve, my voice barely louder than a mosquito's hum. So, you're willing to stay to become my husband naturally? His answer came, and clear, his gaze resting on my face with uncommon intensity at those 2 words. I sprang up from the couch and threw my arms around him. Old-timer, I thought you'd be kicking the bucket any day now. Huh, who are you calling old-timer? He pinched my cheek, his voice dripping with indignation. I'm only a century older than you. My mother's 3 centuries older than the king. I buried my face in the crook of his neck with a laugh, my warm breath brushing against his skin, listening to the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. Suddenly, all those years of waiting and unease finally settled into peace at this very moment. On the day of the investiture, ninth brother sat right beside me. This posture undeniably confirms the recent rumors of a fox-wolf alliance through marriage. I tilted my head to glance at him, teasing deliberately. Ninth brother, you're marrying into our Fox clan. Sure, you won't regret this. He arched an eyebrow, his careless demeanor laced with playful mischief. I regret it so much it's eating me alive. His carefree attitude made me laugh, though I deliberately put on a stern face. In that case, I'll call off the engagement tomorrow and take 2 beautiful concubines instead. Life would surely be more pleasant that way. Absolutely not. He finally snapped, realizing he'd fallen for my prank when he saw me laughing. Then raised an eyebrow in mock annoyance. LRA messing with me again, just as I was laughing heartily. A clear, solemn announcement suddenly echoed from outside the hall. Princess Mina approaches. Mina entered with light, buoyant steps. Her new dress, embroidered with intertwining lotus patterns, brought a healthy glow to her complexion. The natural flush on her cheeks was no longer the artificial bloom of rouge. I came as soon as I woke upon hearing of your appointment as heir, she said gently, lifting an ornate box with a tender smile. Please don't think poorly of this humble gift. I burst into hearty laughter and pulled her close in one swift motion. Sister, you're finally awake. Quick, inform Father. At once, we stood shoulder to shoulder, our sleeves brushing against each other. Father has restored my soul, and the poison within her has dissipated. Now, at last, we stand as we were always meant to be. Looking at them now, they could truly pass for twin sisters. I teased with a laugh, though inwardly breathing a quiet sigh of relief.